This video is to give you some help and some pointers in doing the observation log for your astronomy labs. This log will be kept over the course of a full semester. There's about 15 to 20 stars and constellations that you want to make observations of and keep record of those observations as you go through the semester. The log is designed so that you can do it all by working in the evenings of the particular semester that you're in, either the fall semester or summer semester, or spring semester. But realize that it's also set up to be worked on through the whole semester. So some of the constellations and stars that are visible at the start of the semester in the evening are not visible at the start of the semester or at the end of the semester in the evening, and vice versa. So you do want to be working on it throughout the semester. If for it happens that you say work third shift or something and you get off work late at night and you want to do an early morning observation or something like that, just let your instructor know and we can get you an alternate set of objects to look for. This log doesn't require any particular equipment. You don't need a pair of binoculars or a telescope. These are all objects that you can see with your naked eye. But of course, the darker the site, the better in order to see these constellations and stars. If you go to the square in Gallatin, you're probably not going to be able to see more than just a couple of these things. It's just too bright around there. But if you go out to one of the, say, Triple Creek Park or Bledsoe Creek or something like that, you should be able to see them very easily. So you do want to avoid times when the moon is up in the sky because the bright moon washes out the stars. And one thing that can help is to get yourself a red flashlight. The red light doesn't hurt your night vision, so you can be looking at a chart or looking at the information you're filling in on the log while you're making observations without it damaging, or not damaging, but compromising your being able to see the stars at night. Some of you probably don't know your way around the sky very well, which is okay. And so you may need a set of charts or something like that to help you find your way around. Here's a couple of pointers on where to find that. Typically, astronomy textbooks will have in either the back cover or front covers or in the appendix, will have some sky maps for like each season or so that can help. To get more specific, there are lots of websites that give you a current view of the sky. So you can just do a search on online sky charts and there'll be, 1,000 hits for that. You do need to allow it to share your location because the sky will look different from different places on the earth, and you'll need to be able to get the time and date as well for that. And then also there are plenty of really cheap or completely free apps for your phones that that you can use. One thing on those, you'll need to make sure your phone is oriented with that. Like with an Android, you'll need to do the little figure 8 pattern or whatever you do for the other types of phones to make sure that it knows which way is north and which way is south and stuff like that. So as you look at the chart here, you'll see just a listing of the different objects. These are all stars or constellations, again, that are visible during the evening time over the course of the semester. Then you'll see different things that you're going to fill out here as you do this. So just hit the most obvious ones first, which are the last two. So is this a star or constellation? You want to answer that question. So it's probably no big giveaway to say that Ursa Major is a constellation. So I'm just going to write in CONST here. You'll have more room on your full-size chart there. And if it's a star, just write in star, maybe C for constellation, S for star. That would work. On the comments, there's basically a couple of things we'd want to put in the comments. And this would be one of two things. First off, if you do the observations from a place different than Middle Tennessee, we need to know that because the sky can look different from different places across the country. So, so if you didn't observe the object in Middle Tennessee, now, if you go to Murfreesboro, that's not that big a deal. But if you go to Miami, that is a big deal. It'll look pretty different. And then also, if you observe with somebody else in class, we encourage you to do that for lots of reasons. But it's kind of helpful to us to know that the reason we're seeing the same observation dates and times and stuff from different people is because they were doing it together. Right. And then other things, we've had students note things like, oh, we saw a shooting star, or a skunk went by and we had to leave, stuff like that, just whatever you find interesting, or maybe to remind yourself of that. Okay. The three here, the date and time, north, south direction, and angle above the horizon, are the ones where we can check and see if you've really if you've really seen what it is that you want to see. So the date and time, that's pretty clear. You want to get the day and the time of day when you make the observation. So let's say that you go out and observe, I don't know, on September the 31st, which of course there's not a September the 31st, and you do that at 9:30. So you want to put in that time and that date there, right? We do need the time as well as the date because the sky would look different at 11:30 than it would at 9:30, say, right? And then the north-south direction and the angle above the horizon, that's which way you're facing, way you're looking to find the thing that you're looking at. So for the north-south direction, that's basically the direction your feet are pointing while you're looking at it, right? And so here I've tried to draw, like you out in the field looking at some stars here and say this is you, and this is the north direction, this is east direction, this is west direction, like this. And let's say you're looking at a constellation right over here, so your feet are pointing that way, you're facing that direction. And so for that, then you could just put in that you're looking at in the northeast direction to see that particular star constellation. So if that's Ursa Major that I'm looking at there, then right here for the north-south direction, I would put in northeast for that. Now on that, we don't have to get real detailed with that. Again, mainly what we want to know is, are you looking at the actual right object? So where it says that north-south direction, if you just tell us the main compass directions, we can tell if you're looking in the right spot. So if you do, north, south, east, or west, or then, what would be the other four: northeast, southeast, southwest, or northwest. Any of those will let us know that you're looking in the right toward the right thing. Okay. So one of those 8 options will handle that. And then the angle above the horizon, that's a little bit more involved, but not very much. For that, it's basically how high up in the sky are you having to look to see the stars or the constellation that you're looking at. So again, here's you out in the field looking at some stars, and you've already figured out that you're facing, say, northeast. And so what we want to do is we want to realize that, okay, if I'm looking straight on the horizon, then I would be looking at 0 degrees, right? So it's the angle above the horizon. So straight horizontal would be 0. And honestly, if it's right there, you're not going to see it, right? Because there'll be hills, trees, haze on the horizon that would be blocking it. If it's straight up overhead, then that would be that'd be 90 degrees, right? And then like halfway up, that would be 45 degrees. And then we can maybe fine tune it a little more. Say maybe if I'm a third of the way up, say something about like that, that would be about 30 degrees. And then if I'm 2/3 of the way up, something about like that, that would be around 60 degrees or so. And you can kind of estimate in between, if it's right about in this direction, you might say, oh, that's about 70 or 80 degrees, something like that. For the one we're looking at here, let's see. So I'm looking at about this angle right here. It's a little bit less than 30 degrees, but a little more than halfway. So I'd probably say, oh, I don't know, maybe 20 degrees or so. And so it's 20 degrees up from the horizon, right? So from horizontal up to where I'm at. And so on my chart, I would put 20 degrees. Okay. Now, you don't necessarily need a protractor or anything fancy to make those angle observations here. Again, halfway up would be 45, a third of the way up would be 30. And if it's really closer to 45 and you tell us 30, we can tell that you're looking in generally the right direction. There are a couple of things you can do to kind of help yourself gauge. So if you take your fist and you hold it out at arm's length, okay, then from, say, where your thumb is to where the bottom of your fist is, that's about 10 degrees. Okay. So if something is, point your hand straight overhead and one side of your fist is straight over you and the thing you're looking at is or at the bottom of your fist, then that would be about 80 degrees up. If you take your hand and spread it, then from your pinky to the tip of your thumb, that's about 20 degrees. So, and that's probably good enough to get anything you need to to get as fine-tuned as you need to get anything here for this observation. Okay. So again, as we look at this, the direction I'm facing to see the object, in this case, we're looking northeast, that goes in the chart, and then the angle above the horizon from horizontal being 0, working our way up to 30, 40, 60, 90 degrees up like that. In this case, we're looking at about 20 degrees. I'm going to put that. I'm going to identify it as a constellation. I'm going to give the date and the time that I made the observation, and then make any comments, particularly if you're outside of the Middle Tennessee area or if you're working with someone else in class. All right. If you run into any trouble, please feel free to contact your instructor and we can give you some help.